not a rat I'm looking at. It's a bug. We all know I'm afraid of these New York rats. What up, what up, what up? Good morning. Happy Monday to everybody out there. I know Monday is not the best day of the week, but we are here in New York City, 500 Pearl Street, in front of the, what I'm calling now, the Sean Diddy Combs Courthouse. We are live. Um, Today is a huge day. The jury will finally get the verdict. Sorry, not the verdict. The jury will finally get the charges and instructions. We might have a verdict today, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in. Good morning, Kentucky born. Good morning, Kathleen. Good morning, Grace. Tez, what up? Tez is always in the building. Good morning, D. Rich. Good morning. I think it's Corrine. Good morning. Tangela, Morgan, good morning, Simone. Let's go, come on in here. Wake up, y'all, it's Monday. I normally do that on Fridays, but yo, I'm pumped this morning. I'm excited. B said, hood morning, everybody. Christine, what up? Grace, what up? Tracy, good morning. All right, y'all are up bright and early this Monday morning. Yesterday, y'all know how I start Mondays. Friday, we ended off with Mark Agnifalo's closing arguments. I feel like that was the talk this weekend. Did he go too far? Did he not go far enough? I think everybody is definitely at least on the same page that he definitely went in. Today, we are going to talk about three things. We're going to discuss a little bit more if Mark Agnifalo went too far in his closing statement. He said that this is a modern day love story. He said that this is, Cassie is the real winner here. He did not even walk the line, he did cross the line, but was it too far? Did it turn people off? More importantly, did it turn the jury? Did it turn the 12 jurors against him? And did he? We'll discuss that briefly. Then we're going to get to what everybody is tuned in for, what everybody wants to know. What will happen today? Will we get a verdict? Will we see a verdict? I'll give you guys all the breakdown of what is going to happen. We will be starting court a regular time today, 8:30. The judge, well, he says 8:30, but he doesn't get there until 8:45. Judge gets in around 8:45. We actually will start court around 9. The jury gets in around 9:15. There is a 120 pages that the judge has to read to the jury. I'll break that down to you what the instructions are and where will we go from there. I'll answer the question that everybody wants to know very quickly. Is it possible that we get a verdict today knowing if Sean Diddy Combs will spend the rest of his life in jail? It is possible, people. It is possible. The O.J. Simpson trial, which is the trial that everybody likes to point to, that was a 9-month trial. This was a 2-month trial, let's just say. The jury was able to reach a verdict in under 4 hours. The jury will be able to start deliberations if we go quickly before lunch, if not definitely after lunch, meaning from 12 to around 4 or 5, depending how long the judge keeps us. So basing it on the O.J. Simpson trial, it is possible we get a verdict today, okay? Hold on. Somebody says, can't hear you. Trent, you are so committed. Thank you so much. Verdict watching. Thank you. Somebody says, wear your glasses. I don't wear glasses every day, depending on the outfit. We went very fashion forward last week during the prosecution's closing arguments and the defense closing arguments. Today's a little bit of a dress down day, so I didn't have to go crazy. Hold on a second. Somebody said they can't hear me. Could y'all give me a little thumbs up if you can hear me, please? Just want to make sure. All right, Tess says that you can hear me. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, let me get to the some comments quickly. Y'all know I like to do this in the morning. Somebody said, good morning. Found you Friday. I love it here. Good morning. Trent, mods, and chats. Good morning in the house. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. All right. I'm going to get to this. Oh, we got thumbs up. All right. I was just trying to buy some time before I get some thumbs up. Everybody can hear me. All right. So what we're going to start out with is Mark Agnifalo's closing statements. Normally I wait to get to the whole end of the show or the live before, but I'm going to read to you just my summation quickly of what I think of Mark Agnifalo's closing statements, and then I'm going to go right to the comments, and then we're going to talk about jury and the verdict and all that stuff. But I was Friday when we came out of court, I was really charged up because we have, we've been through a long trial. We heard finally from the defense. Don't forget, the defense never even put on a witness on the stand. And they were able to give us finally our closing arguments so we can hear from them. And then we also heard a rebuttal from the prosecution. It was an exciting day, but I wanted to take the weekend to really just process everything, talk to people and get everyone's feedback. And I would say the consensus from most people I've, listened to or speak to feel that Mark Agnifalo definitely crossed the line with his closing statements. And to this, I want to say this. Yes, 100% Mark Agnifalo did cross the line, but Mark's job is to represent his client, Sean Diddy Combs. You think that Mark was up there giving his closing statements? That was just Mark's physical body. Those words were all Sean Diddy Combs, verbatim. Stick with me now. Just like the feds brilliantly got KK to testify, quote unquote, she didn't really testify, but they got her to testify through her text messages without her actually even taking the stand, Mark's closing statements was Diddy's testimony. And if he had to spend the rest of his life in jail and he wants to go out on those terms, I feel like we have to respect that. That was Sean Diddy Combs up there, ladies and gentlemen. It was Mark's body and Mark's voice, but those were all Sean Diddy Combs' words. That was Sean Combs testifying without having to testify. I feel like that may have gone over some people's heads, saying that Mark crossed the line. Your defense team doesn't do anything without getting your okay. Diddy approved every word that came out of Mark Agnifalo's mouth. Diddy, trust me, wanted to take that stand, ladies and gentlemen. Mark told you, hey, what's up? You're back. Of course you'd come back today. All right, I'll talk to you in a minute. That's TMZ. I'm telling you, we're making connections out here, y'all. Talking about TMZ, Harvey Levin, when he interviewed Mark Agnifalo 6 or 7 months ago, Mark said, I'm gonna have to do everything in my power to keep Diddy off the stand. Y'all know Diddy how he is. Diddy is a showman. Diddy 100% wanted to take that stand, but his defense team said no because he would be subject to cross-examination. This was Diddy's way of getting his voice out. This was the closing arguments, and this is why Mark Agnifalo crossed the line, because Diddy told him to. And like I just said, this is Diddy's life. This is Diddy's money. He's the one that's spending $5 million a month on a dream team of lawyers, and it's his decision to have Mark cross the line, and Mark did that, and you have to, well, you don't have to respect it, but if your life is on the line, and that's how Diddy wants to go out, that is his decision. It's his money. It's his life. Mark, as a lawyer, put his neck on the line for Diddy Friday, as he should. I believe that that is a defense attorney's job. Mark, Diddy, and the rest of the team only need to create doubt in one of the jurors' mind. The feds need to create beyond a reasonable doubt in all 12 of the jurors' mind. I just want to repeat that. Diddy and the defense team need to create doubt in one juror's mind. Now, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on, but one, Mark and Diddy and his team, they were talking to one or a few jurors that they felt that closing statement would get to them, and that's all they need. I feel that also, too, is going over people's heads. 100%. Was it too far? Yes, calling Cassie the winner, saying that this was a modern-day love story. However, this defense team and Diddy feel like there are one or two or possibly more jurors that closing statement would resonate with, and they don't care what I think, they don't care what you think, they don't care what ABC thinks, NBC, whatever. I've heard people from the media saying that Mark was making a mockery of the judicial system. And that is their right. However, they're not speaking to the judicial system. They're not speaking to the judge. They're not speaking to you. They're not speaking to me. They are speaking to the 12 jurors on the stand and the 5 alternates. That's all they care about. And to drill it down even more, they're not talking to the 12 and the 5. They're talking to the 1, the 2, or potentially 3 or a little bit more that they feel they could get a non-guilty verdict. And that is what they're doing. The burden of proof rests on the government. Those closing statements may have created some doubt in some or even one of the jurors' mind, and that is all they are trying to do. Side note, something that I would like to add before I get to the comments. I was sitting on Friday beside Mark's wife, and I asked her, and I was sitting beside her through his entire closing arguments, and I asked her, how do you feel? What are your thoughts on his closing arguments? And she said that she's seen almost every single one of his closing arguments, and she believes that this was his best closing argument of his career. That's from his wife. Again, did he go too far? Of course he did. Did he take huge risks? Of course he did. I don't know why I have this earpiece in. Of course he did. Painting Cassie as the winner was horrible, but that is his job, and that is what his client asks for. Let me go to the comment section and see what y'all are saying. Somebody said, good morning. China said, free him immediately. I hope he sues everybody involved in the case, including the Democrats. Somebody says, this reporter is in the tank. I don't know what that means. Raph said, shout out to Germany. Somebody said, great morning. What do you guys think about Mark Ignifilo's closing statements? Let me just scroll up. Maybe you guys said something. At least 3 jurors will find him guilty. There you go. That's all. And they only need 1. Somebody says, your followers are mad slow, which is not true. China G said that. All right, here somebody said, Coco said, only the RICO is standalone. The transportation charges has no minimum guideline, which means could be time served or probation, exactly. It's law language under the Mann Act. That's the only one they got, in my opinion. I think everybody should agree with that they found guilty on the Mann Act. I feel like that's a pretty easy one to be found guilty on. But just like you said, Coco, that is a 10-year max. I think the minimum, I think maybe you're right, you said minimum is probation. They will give case studies and give examples of why he shouldn't get the max. I gave this example last week where if he does, and I think he will get found guilty for the Mann Act, let's say they'll bring up 5 examples of 5 other people that have been found guilty. For example, let's say the last person in the Southern District of New York that got found guilty had let's say 10 women that they were trafficking. If they got 5 years, they would say, hey, you found him guilty of 1, you can't give him 5 years, give him 1 year or whatever. They'll give examples of sentencing prior, but also go to his other priors. There'll be a whole sentencing thing. And what most experts have come to determination is that Diddy will probably get off on time served. He'll maybe get 2 years, 1.5 years. He's already been in jail for 10 years. They'll get off on time served. That will be a technical win for the prosecution, but it will be a moral loss if Diddy gets to walk. Similar to Young Thug, where they had him trumped up on all of these charges. He pled guilty to some lesser charges. He got out, he's on probation for 15 years. He can't come back to Atlanta, but he's not in jail. So technically, did the feds convict and have a win? Yes, they did, but not what they wanted to, all right? All right, so Diddy is guilty of not getting help that he needs. He's gonna be guilty on something, but not all charges, but he needs help. That's what he is guilty of, not getting himself some help. That was Kim. Kim, I cannot agree with you more. I've said that repeatedly on my lives. The standout statement to me was from Jane when she said she doesn't believe that Diddy could get over the war in his head, which is somebody from a mental health standpoint and always looking at things from a mental health lens. Diddy needs help. Does he maybe need to go to jail? Yes. Has he committed some crimes? Yes. Is he overcharged? That's up to you. Does he need to go to jail for the rest of his life? That's up to you, and really up to the jury to decide. But I think we can all agree that Diddy is a drug addict, and Diddy needs help. Whether he goes to jail or not, he needs help. He is a damaged individual that needs the help, and I hope for his sake, for his family's sake, and for everybody's sake that Diddy gets the help that he needs. Okay, I'm not gonna read that. The lawyer and Diddy are pathetic. Hope he gets more than 20 years. All right, right to your own opinion. Somebody says, Diddy or did he not? Diddy guilty. Somebody said, free him. Somebody said, hey Trent, greetings from Virginia. Love your positive energy and vibe. Keep up the best. Thank you very much. All right, so I think everyone's kind of like splits half and half. Trent giving real facts. Thank you very much, Anna. Blah, 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 blah. All right, let me see if there's anything else, and then I'll go to the why aren't people not saying anything about the, okay, I'm not gonna read that. They can't retry Cassie. They never even tried Cassie. Somebody said, fix your mic. That, again, somebody's saying stuff about my mic. Anyways, I hope my mic is okay. Coco said, I agree, Trent, Manac has no minimums. I think, hold on. I think they may have transportation, but nothing else. Case law, very important on the charges. Sam, jury said guilty as charged. Kai K said pizza boxes were thrown out by his sons in the tunnel. Jerome said free Diddy. Shug said I think. Darren said no matter what Diddy is done, no matter how the verdict goes, he's done. It's your opinion. True. Sandra said he needs God and to have conciseness. Sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Somebody said something about another YouTuber, but then said Trent is keeping it real. I don't call out other YouTubers on my channel, but thank you for the compliment. No defense was advice from Diddy's legal team. Of course it is. Somebody said, great job reporting every day. Thank you, David. Your mic is good. Thank you, Coco. Will Diddy go back to jail if it's a hung jury? Yes, good question, Cheryl. Diddy will go back to jail if it's a hung jury, 1000%. Sorry, my coffee was really hot and I didn't get to drink it before going live. Starbucks better sponsor me, yo. Coffee break, hold on. Great question. Diddy was not granted bail. So if there's a mistrial, a hung jury, which we're gonna talk about in a second, 1000% Diddy will remain in jail. But he can now also ask again for bail. He can present another bail package. We don't know if that will be approved or not, but a hung jury means that he stays in jail and he gets to be retried. Keep in mind, when you're facing life and you get a mistrial and you have to stay in jail, it's not the end of the world because at least you know you have a second chance at life. Of course he wants to go home, but he'll be happy to get a mistrial. And the advantage of getting a mistrial and having the case tried again is the defense team knows the entire playbook of the prosecution. So it's easier to win the second time around. But yes, he will remain in jail. All right, let me go talk now about the jury, and then I'll get back to the comment section. We still have enough time. I'll be able to stay on until around 7:35-ish, okay? So, where was I here? Let's start with giving you guys some information. So, this morning at around 9 o'clock, I will be in the courtroom, and the judge will read the charges and jury instructions, which will take an hour to 2 hours. I was asking the security guard how long the instructions and charges are. He said to me it was around 100 to 120 pages. So however long it takes to read 100 to 120 pages. So an hour, 2 hours. Then the jury will start deliberating. Like I said, let's assume around 11 before lunch. They will take straw polls. They will discuss the evidence, see where they're at, and they will come to a verdict as soon as possible. The chances of them getting in deliberation and saying, hey guys, where does everybody stand? And everybody's saying guilty, everybody's saying not guilty, it's pretty much unlikely. There's bound to be some guilty, some not guilty. They'll start discussing. Just remember, at the end of every day and at the end of every lunch, the judge reminds the jury they're not allowed to look up the case and they're not allowed to discuss the case amongst themselves. A lot of people think the jury sometimes goes back and they're talking. This will be the first time that they're able to discuss amongst each other. Every time we leave the courtroom, the 14 content creators, and the 21 legacy media, we leave and we get to go outside and be like, yo, what did you think? Yo, what did the judge say about this? Yo, I didn't hear this. Oh yeah, he said this. And we get to talk amongst each other, compare notes, give each other our opinions. The jury doesn't get to do that. So for that alone, I think, just my opinion, that alone, you need to go through a day and go through your notes. This was 32-day trial, right? So there's a lot to go over before they begin to really start getting into getting a verdict out. I think they have a lot to talk about, okay? Now, a lot of people are talking about mistrial, and I want to just break down what that means. The judge says that he may bring them in on Thursday if needed, although it is a holiday on Thursday. We all know that here in the US, July 4th is Independence Day, and the Thursday, July the 3rd, is also a holiday. However, a federal judge can open up the court anytime he wants to. He has said that he will open up on Thursday if need be, but some people are of the mind of thinking that he's just saying that to make sure that they're like, holy crap, we do not want to come in. Let's try to get a verdict by Wednesday, okay? So we feel like the judge is playing a little bit of games. Most experts say that they feel that we'll have a verdict by Wednesday. The jury is fresh today, it's Monday, they deliberate, they talk, they compare notes, etc. Tuesday, and they feel like in their mind, most jurors will be like, yo, July 4th is coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's take a couple of days and talk, and let's come to a conclusion on Wednesday. Couple of things to note, or one more important thing to note. It's not a very complicated case. Some cases are a little bit more complicated, and you have to, compare a bunch of things and talk about a bunch of things. Sometimes there's financial cases and there's numbers. This is a case pretty much that is surrounded by testimony. So it's really, do you believe Cassie? Do you believe Jane? Do you believe the testimony? Do you believe Bana? Do you believe Don Hughes, the therapist I was talking about, trauma bonding? What do you believe? That's really what it is. And once you believe or not believe, can other members of the juror convince you and change your mind to believe or change your mind, all right? So it's not a very complicated case. Hold on. The jury has 3 options, okay? And these are all valid options. Guilty, not guilty, or a hung jury. Some people think, I've seen in the comment section before, is that hung jury is not legitimate or whatever. It is legitimate in US court. It is a legitimate verdict. There's no pressure. There's no, you guys made a mistake. It is common and it's acceptable in the Constitution. There is nothing that says that you must come to a verdict. They do not have to come to a verdict. The only thing that a juror must consider is the evidence. You must not look at the clock, and you must not say, hey, I'm going to change my mind because the July 4th weekend is coming. That is democracy. A hung jury is democracy. It is up to the judge to call a hung jury. He has the right to keep on sending them back, to keep on trying, but it's only the judge that can call a hung jury, okay? What does that mean? I'll go into a little bit of detail. Let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, so let me go into a little bit more detail. Let's say, for example, Tuesday, they're like, yo, we discussed all half of Monday and we discussed all Tuesday. We're good. We are, let's say, 8 guilty, 4 not guilty. The judge couldn't look at that time and say, okay, cool, you guys are a hung jury. That's not likely. It's the judge's job and the hope to get a verdict. So the judge could say, all right, guys, it's Tuesday, go back. Or why are you deliberating? Why are you hung? What are the reasons? Is there something that can help you? Do you guys have questions? The people who are voting guilty, why? The people who are voting not guilty, why? Here's another thing. Throughout the deliberations, the jury can send notes back to the judge asking questions. I will be, and other content creators and legacy media will be in the courtroom. We'll be waiting around to hear these notes. I'll be coming out and giving you lives. And during the reading of these notes, we'll be able to give you guys some impression of what is going on in deliberation. We'll get to know, hey, they're asking this or they're asking that, and we'll be able to know not what the verdict is or where the position is, but we'll know whether they're more leaning to guilty or more leaning to not guilty based on the questions. It will give us a little bit of an insight. But getting back to the judge, it's up to the judge how many times he wants to keep sending them back and sending them back. Like I said, it could be Wednesday morning where it's like, all right, guys, I sent you back Tuesday, you come back, you're still split. Okay, it's Wednesday after lunch, you guys are still split. He could say, all right, I'm gonna open up the court on Thursday, you guys keep deliberating. The jury has to convince the judge that they are hopelessly hung. They have to convince the judge that no matter how many times you send us back, I don't care how many times you open the court, I don't care if you open it on July 4th or Saturday or Sunday, we are hopelessly deadlocked. It will be up to the judge to decide when the hopelessly deadlocked is pertinent. Now, sorry, just checking on the line. Now, from me being in a courtroom every day and not knowing the judge personally, but seeing his personality, he does not strike me as the judge, as the type of judge that gives too much resistance. Whether it be the prosecution or the defense, he generally just likes people to do their own thing and be fair. And he doesn't want to seem like he's being too controlling to the court. So whether the prosecution has an objection, he sees it 50-50. When the defense has a prosecution, he sees it 50-50. I don't think that this judge is going to keep on sending them back over and over. I feel like if the jury comes and says, yo, judge, we're good, I feel like he will say, all right, I don't want to push you guys too far. And if anything, he is extra fair to the jury. He knows as a judge, they're doing their civic duty. They don't necessarily want to be here. And I believe that, oh, Diddy's mom is showing up now, or the kids. I believe that if they convince the judge that they are hopelessly hung by the second or third time, I feel like the judge will say, fine, I don't want to push you. Just my opinion, okay? Now, let me tell you guys what will happen in the case of a mistrial. In the case of a mistrial, the feds can poll the jury and ask this question: how many are guilty or how many are not guilty? So let's say, for example, in the polling, let's say the judge is like, hey, they're hopelessly hung, all right, guys? Before everybody goes home, they could say, how many were guilty, how many were not guilty? For example, let's say 10 were guilty and 2 not guilty. Then the prosecution will most likely say, we were really close. We had 10 guilty, 10 and 2 not guilty. We're gonna retry this case. It's not gonna happen right away. Diddy goes back to jail. Like I said earlier, he could try to get bail. They start the whole process again. It will take a couple of months. They get a new jury. We do this all over again. And yes, I will be here every day. Now, if the prosecution polls the jury after a hung jury and they say, hey, we the jury were 2 guilty, 10 not guilty, then the prosecution looks at themselves and says, yo, we couldn't even convince 12 people. What do we have to justify spending millions of dollars to retry this case? It will be very hard depending on the polling. So a lot of people think, oh, there's a mistrial, it's okay, he stays in jail and they try him again. It very much depends on the polling after the jury is hung. Having said all that, this is a very public case. This is a very high-profile case. And hey, what's up, bro? And the jury, sorry, I just got sidetracked. And what was I saying? Yeah, this is a very high-profile case. And even if, this is just my opinion, even if they poll the jury and they say 10 not guilty and 2 guilty, I feel like because it's Diddy and because it's so high profile and because the feds made such a stink about this and made such a big thing and it's a global international and there's literally 20 news stations right across the street here, I think the feds will take whatever opportunity they can to try him again so that they can at least have a second shot. Even if they poll and it is only 10 not guilty and only 2 guilty. Whatever chance they get, I believe the feds will try him again. If they get found not guilty, then of course, double jeopardy, they cannot try him again, all right? I think that is it. That is it. Whoop, whoop. All right, got that done in exactly 30 minutes. All right, let me get to the comments and see. We'll take maybe around like 10 minutes. Ooh, this coffee is so good. I'm not even a coffee drinker. I don't know why I do this, but yeah, it's because I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's why I forgot. Starbucks, I need a sponsorship. All right, Christina said, I appreciate your honest rendition of the proceedings. Great job, Diddy might go free. By the way, I didn't say this today, and I'll keep on reading in a second. Just want to say this for any new subscribers that are around or whatever. I am not pro Diddy. I am not pro prosecution. This guy's trying to record me and pretend like he's not recording me. Yo, it's okay. You can record, bro. It's all good. You can record. It's good.
What happened was one of my friends thought she knew you.
What?
One of my friends thought she knew who you was.
Yeah.
She's like, no, that's not
All right, I got you. We're good. We're good.
My bad.
Don't worry, bro. It's all free. What was I saying now? Yeah, I am not pro Diddy. I have no skin in the game. Diddy goes to jail for the rest of his life or he gets free. Makes no difference to me. It makes no difference to me at all. I am just here to be your eyes and ears in the courtroom. And that's what I try to do every live. That's why I break down, what is Diddy doing? What's the prosecution doing? You guys see a bunch of Twitter pages and they're writing what people are saying, or you could even get the transcripts at the end of the day. I'm just trying to give you a front row seat of being inside the courtroom. I want to try to make you feel like you guys are sitting there. That's why I give you guys as much extra as I can, and then try to kind of break down the law of what's going on, all right? So no skin in the game, doesn't bother me one bit. All right, let me just get back to the comments. Coco's been commenting a lot today. Thank you, Coco. Coco said Rule 29 is still pending until verdict, so the judge doesn't risk his case being overturned on appeal. No judge wants that. Hold on, Rule 29 is still pending until, oh my gosh. Yo, there's just a wasp on my hand. Yo, I have a healthy fear of bees. Wow. I felt like this little bug crawling on me. I think it's just a little spider. I looked down, it was a huge bee, man. Yo, tell you, New York, you gotta watch out for bees and rats. Okay, Rule 29 is still pending until the verdict. Is that true? So the judge doesn't risk his case being overturned in appeal. No judge wants that. I didn't even know that. Thank you for that. All right, there's something going on in the line. Somebody's yelling. All right, love your hair, Trent. Thank you very much, Paul. I think it's Lisa says, they won't try him again if it's a hung jury. Cassie and Jane will not come on the stand again. I don't know about that. I definitely think they don't want to, but at the end of the day, don't forget, Jane has to come because she was subpoenaed and pled the fifth. And yes, they do not want to go through that again, but I don't know about that. The other person says, why is his mother not accountable? That's Sandra's comment. You got to ask the feds that. Tracy said, get the crispy grilled cheese at Starbucks. No, every morning I take the double smoked bacon. It's my favorite thing. But actually, I was able to have some time this weekend. I did a little bit of groceries, so I was able to have some breakfast in the morning. That's why I didn't have a double smoked bacon. Got to some healthy. I had some strawberries, blueberries, and some bananas this morning, and a little like strawberry cake. So there you go. His mic is just fine. Thank you very much. Oh, Trent, you're outside early. Yeah, I'm outside early, but I'm here every morning like this. Every morning I'm here at 7 a.m. All right, the comments are coming in. I can't even read them. All right, let me scroll all the way back down. All right, somebody says, Tracy said, good for you. Painted said, hungry. Did they have a hung jury? No, not yet. I really can't believe how back and forth I am with the verdict. That's what I think the jury is too. Like I said, the prosecution put on such a fantastic case. You sit down during their closing arguments and you're like, wow, yo, he did racket. He is a racketeer. Yo, he did SCX traffic. Yo, he is a violation of the Mann Act. And then the defense comes on and you're like, yo, hold on. Maybe this is a tale of two stories. Maybe this is a tale of two trials. Maybe he didn't. And then, rebuttal comes on. It's there. I have said this repeatedly. And this is what I love about being in the courtroom. It's such a blessing to see and witness two masterful teams. Like the prosecution, masterful, led by Maureen Comey. Like she is amazing. Like when she did the redirect in closing, or whatever the title is called, but after Mark was brilliant. Like, and I told everybody, like, the opening statements for the prosecution was very mundane, very boring, very technical, but they got all their technical things out. And then Maureen was an exact combination of the prosecution and Mark. The prosecution was way too boring. Mark was way too over the edge. Maureen came and was right in the middle. She was moving, throwing her voice around while also giving you technical reasons why you should find Diddy guilty. So sometimes I close my notepad and I just take 5 minutes and I just watch and I'm like, yo, I'm witnessing greatness. I'm witnessing the trial of the century, you know? And I'm literally like 10 feet away from the action, being able to see the juror's face. And that's one thing I will say about Mark's closing statement. Even the people in the overflow room, they said that they weren't able to hear 100% because he had a microphone, but he was pacing back and forth and they were not able to see the jury. And I'm not saying not to listen to what the people in the overflow room were saying, but the people in the courtroom were actually able to feel Mark and hear Mark and see the jury's reaction. So I feel the people who were in the courtroom got a little bit of an extra edge of seeing and feeling his closing arguments. But yeah, kudos to prosecution and the defense, man. Like, whoever wins, hats off. Like, this was game 7, you know, tie game, 3 seconds left, and somebody's throwing up a 3. If it goes in, it goes in. If it misses, it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, it was close. Andrea said, are you married? No, I am not. Caroline said, I really can't believe how back and forth I'm in a vertical. I read that already. Cassie would be obliterated if she returns to the stand. You think so? I feel like Cassie was pretty good. Your name here says, good morning from Chicago, Chi-Town, what up? Your enthusiasm is unbiased. Reporting is great. Thank you very much. I don't understand why they haven't brought the line forward a little bit. Anyways, I'll stay on in the next 10 minutes. I hope we're not starting later than... Anyways, I hope the judge gets, what? Reprimanded? Why do you think the judge should get reprimanded? He's such a good judge. Defense sounded good, I agree. TCJ Financial said, you're gonna have to find another trial to cover after this. I know everybody keeps on asking me, like, what trial are you gonna cover after? I am not a trial or a legal analyst. I literally am just a YouTuber, but I do have a vast amount of experience with the law, whether it be criminally, financial law, business law. I have over 6 lawyers. Myself, from being an author, being in the entertainment industry for 10 years. I had a national brand in Canada. So with that, I had a lot of legal experience. Like I said, whether it be business, entertainment, criminally, I've been involved in a ton of cases. So I do have experience. However, I'm coming at you just like how you would. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll start covering a little bit more trials. Federal cases are not allowed to have cameras. Exactly, that is why I have to check in my laptop. I got to check in my phone. We cannot bring in phones in there. I wish I could. Somebody, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Amalia. Love your content. Found you on your last couple of days of the trial. Unfortunately, very good at what you do. Subscribe and we'll be following you. Thank you very much. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I am dyslexic. China G says the story will change. Their stories will change, of course. Somebody says, can't wait for the movie. Facts. If not, I want like a really good documentary that's really like documenting the trial. I think that would be really good. And I hope they use some of my content. Defense wiped out the government. See, some people do think that. Why did they decide not to televise? Kathleen just asked that. You cannot televise a... What are they doing with the line? You cannot televise in federal court. You're not allowed cameras. You're not allowed cell phones. Nothing like that is allowed in. Ralph, I think it's Ralph. Ralph says, thank you for keeping us informed and thank you for working so hard, keeping us up to date. You are welcome. Mitzi said, will be hung. Too many errors. Classy says, because you are mutual, I am always listening to what you have to say. Thank you so much. Some folks have already convicted Diddy with their reporting. Somebody says, be careful, good morning. Correct, the judge did not make his decision yet. Thank you for the updates. I feel you're pro Diddy though. I am not pro Diddy at all. I am not pro Diddy. All right, let me scroll down and see if there's new comments. All right, somebody said, Messi G said, good morning, handsome. Ralph Fio said, stay hydrated. Dickie Leonard said, too many witnesses lying. Felicia said, hi. Dare something about Mary said, I would love to, hold on, I would love to see a documentary on Diddy's case for sure. Yeah, the trial. Pearl Sugar says, when do you think 50 Cent documentary will come out? Thanks for the update. Yeah, I was wondering, I'm like, where is 50 Cent's documentary? But I think he's being smart and waiting until the, all right, now I think they're gonna bring in the line. They normally bring them in bring it the front at 7. Yeah, I think that he's being smart and waiting for the trial to be over so his documentary could be a lot more full. Paul said, respect the coverage. Thank you so much, Paul. Somebody said, morning, stay hydrated, long day, 1000%. The Capital 7 says, Trent is anti-Diddy. I am just here to report you guys the facts, you know? I'm not on any side at all. I respect both sides, 110%. Audrey said, do you think they will go after KK if he's found not guilty? Very good question. Like I said, I thought it was very brilliant of them not to put KK on the stand, the prosecution, and get her text message from her seized phone, but she herself didn't have to go on the stand, because if they put her on the stand, she would just plead the fifth and they would give her immunity. Who knows what will happen? It is definitely going to be hard to convict her. If Diddy is let off on all charges, it'll be very, very hard to convict her. So that remains to be seen. Let me scroll up. Will the transcripts of the court be released so we know word for word? Of course, I think they're released every day. Good morning, Trent. How many days does the jury have to deliberate? The jury has as long as they want. The jury could deliberate for 6 months if they want. It's really up to them. There is no time. Lisa says, love your coverage. Just found you. Thank you very much, Lisa. Melis said, Diddy. Okay, I'm not going to say that. 50 Cent sometime after September was on Netflix. Okay, that's cool. Thanks for the update. I don't understand why they're not starting the line, guys. Harold Henry said, Diddy's lawyers are so good that they convinced the jury that Cassie enjoyed men. I can't say that. Diddy will walk. Don't believe me, just watch. Shaking my head. Heaven help America. Somebody said Ice Ice Baby. Drew Wright says, too bad some of y'all aren't holding your... Okay, I'm not going to read that. That person said, she's done for... Ha ha ha. Great coverage. Thank you. Thank you, Jay Jackson. All right. Do you think the prosecution's rebuttal had an effect on Mark's closing statements, making it less effective? 1000%. Like I said, during his closing arguments, he really had the jury super captivated, really focused. Like I said, whenever the prosecution is there, or even during the testimony, the prosecution is very mundane and boring, not to their detriment, but that's just how they present. Where the defense team, and especially in closing, was very like, baby oil, give me a break, da-da-da. And like he was like a one-man show. But like I said, Maureen Comey came in right after Mark and was like, yo, bam, 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 bam. So let's say he swayed some juries to his side. She definitely got some back. I said that on Friday, 1000%. The question is, did she get all of them back? Like I said, the bearer of proof rests on the prosecution team. They must convince all 12 jurors beyond a reasonable doubt. Very, very hard to do. Yolanda says, do you think other YouTubers are being, all right, I don't talk about other YouTubers. I respect all my colleagues and all the other YouTubers. Christine Mitchell said, good morning, handsome. I just jumped from YouTuber to YouTuber. You report and touch on a lot more than others. Thank you so much, but still respect everybody else who is doing their thing, all right? KK is fine. Team says, do y'all think this is a setup to have us focus on this man while other things are going on? I don't know. I don't subscribe to that, really. You are Amazing. This is LB Dean. Personality on point, delivery extremely engaging. Bam, 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 bam. Thank you so much, LB Dean. Missy Rose says, he did a lot of nonsense long ago, just seems too far-fetched. Something about Mary said, will the feds come for KK? Who knows, who knows? All right, guys, I'm gonna get off in 3 minutes because I don't know what is going on. We were supposed to be let in at 7:45. I don't know what's going on here. Most overrated called the trial of the century. Well, what is the trial of the century if not this trial? Gail Wood said, hi Trent, would you call this the trial of the century? This trial seems bigger than the O.J. Simpson case. I don't know if it's bigger than the O.J. Simpson case, but it's definitely huge. Yo, what up, fam? What's going on? How come they're not bringing the line in front of the door? How come they're not bringing? Is everybody still lined up on the sidewalk?
We got a few minutes.
Oh,
Just came over here to say what's up.
oh, respect, brother, respect. All right, bro. All right, so doing a little bit different. So I will get off in 2 minutes just to make sure I can go in. Somebody says Diddy will walk, but I think the baby oil was used as a symbol. Okay, I'm not going to read that one. All right, hold on. Before I get off, there's a super chat. Sorry, sir. When are you guys bringing us on in line in front? 7:45, like usual, right?
Yeah, it's
okay.
7:45 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, officer. All right. Let me just get to the super chat quickly. Kathleen, almost Disney super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Kathleen. Oh, I got another super chat. Bam, bam, bam. Hilda Smith with another super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all. Let me like this, and let me like this one. Thank you so much. Kathleen is always giving me super chats. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I'm gonna log off now, guys. Like I said, the officer just gave me confirmation that we'll be going in soon. Do you have somebody in line for you? No. I don't. I can't give you guys any more information other than that. Somebody said, hurry back, this trial is nonsense. Bring your phone. Yeah, like bring my phone so I can get kicked out. You're gonna leave us. All right. Yes, all right, anyways, guys, I'm going to, what? Is Diddy's hair all gray? It's not all gray. It looks worse in the sketches, but I think I'm just used to it now because I see him every day, but it's not as bad as people think. Anyways, I'm gonna log off now, guys. I will come back scheduled around lunchtime. Yes, on Friday, they gave us like this weird kind of mandate about lunch where it's like, if you guys don't come back in within a certain time, we will lock you out, regardless if you're on the list or not. So it just, maybe I might not be back at lunchtime if we only have half an hour and they're like lock the doors. Normally you could come back in and out regardless. We'll see if the judge is a little bit more lenient. If I have an hour or so for lunch, I'll be able to come back out. If they only give us half an hour, I'm just gonna stay in and I'll come at the end of the day, okay? So potentially coming back at 12 o'clock. Of course, if there's a surprise verdict, I will run out right away and talk to you guys. So potentially at 12, 1 o'clock, or at the end of the day. I will be back today to give you guys a full rundown of the day, the jury charge. For those of you who don't know, we also do a recorded podcast with other entertainment news, the Trent Out Loud podcast. It is on our YouTube page, our podcast platforms. Check us out over there. Just go on YouTube and click on the video. You see recorded one last night. We don't only cover the Diddy trial. We definitely do other entertainment and viral news. So check us out. I'm back on schedule. I'll probably be able to do one every day. We normally post it around like 8, 9 o'clock, but during the covering the trial has been a little bit difficult, but I did one yesterday, all right? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love y'all. Thank you guys for the super chats. And I will see you by the end of the day. Let me take 1 more minute and get exactly to 50 minutes, all right? Let me just stay on 1 more minute. Audrey said, looking good. LB Dean said goodbye. Kai said K. Classy, Martha, Matrasat said ta-ta. Jane will get immunity, but not Cassie. Somebody says, what's happening this morning in court? Just go back. I already said everything. Sarah, all right, come on, guys. 40 more seconds, guys. Somebody says, hi, curls poppin', skin poppin'. I know, right? I love this sun, right? The melanin be melanin, the curls be curling. Hey, yo, it's Monday, yo. Love them waves. Thank you, Claire. Have a good day. LB Dean says, I need a coffee date with your personality. Thank you so much. Are they letting people in now? All right, 20 more seconds, 18 more seconds. Somebody said, peace. Is there more closing arguments today? No, there isn't. You are so fun. Thank you, Jay Jackson. Hey, thank you. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to pronounce his name. NNAMDI. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate you. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. Let me try Namidi. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right. All right, got to 50 minutes. I'm going to log off and get in court now. Love you guys. I will see you either 12 o'clock or at the end of the day. Make sure you check out a podcast that I did last night. Peace. Love y'all.